Have you ever just stopped and wondered how our economy actually works? I mean, think about it. You've got millions of people, all with their own wants and needs, and somehow without anyone really being in charge, it all just coordinates. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible invisible mechanism that runs the whole show. We're talking about the price system.
So that's the big question, right? Who makes the call that we need more smartphones this year and, I don't know, fewer landlines? Who's telling farmers to grow more kale? Is there some genius in a control room somewhere pulling all the levers? The crazy answer is there isn't one. Or maybe a better way to put it is that everyone is.
To really get how that's possible, we have to first talk about a really common trap people fall into when they think about the economy. It's this idea called the fallacy of isolation. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the mistake of looking at one little piece of the economy as if it's floating in space all by itself. Now you see this fallacy pop up in a really common critique. The argument goes something like this. We've got all this amazing technology, so shouldn't we be producing things for use to meet everyone's needs instead of just for profit? The complaint is that businesses will just stop making stuff the second it isn't profitable, even if people out there could still really use it. But here's the thing that view misses. No industry is an island. Every single business, every factory is connected to all the others because they're all competing for the exact same finite stuff. We're talking about labor, raw materials, capital, you name it. The decision to make more of one thing always means you've decided to make less of something else. Okay, to make this idea really click, let's just shrink the entire global economy down to its simplest form. Let's imagine one person, all alone on a deserted island. Let's call him Robinson Crusoe. He is, for our purposes, the entire economy. And man, Crusoe has a lot on his plate. His list of wants is basically infinite, right? He's thirsty, he's hungry, he needs shelter, he needs to not get eaten by wild animals, but he's only got so many hours in the day and so much energy. He can't do it all at once. He's got to choose. So what's his move? He prioritizes, of course. First things first, he's got to find water or he's done for. After that, maybe he spends his time trying to catch some fish. Building a nice comfy hut, that's probably way down the list. See, every hour he spends carving a fishing spear is an hour he's not spending building that roof. That's the trade-off. It's fundamental. In that little island story perfectly illustrates the one unbreakable rule of economics. It doesn't matter if you're one person or 8 billion people. Our resources are limited. If you want more of one thing, you have to give up a little bit of something else. All right, so back to the real world. How does our giant, messy, complicated society solve that same problem? How do we as a whole decide between more hospitals, more coffee shops, or more cars? Well, the answer is this beautifully elegant automatic system. It's the price system. You can think of it like this giant decentralized supercomputer. It's constantly taking in new information and coordinating everyone's actions using just 3 simple signals: costs, prices, and profits. And it all starts with you and me. Let's say a bunch of people suddenly decide they love drinking oat milk. They start buying more of it, stores notice this, and to make sure they don't run out, they start offering a higher price to their suppliers. And just like that, the price of oat milk starts to climb. Now, for the companies that actually make the oat milk, that higher price tag is fantastic news. It translates directly into bigger profits. All of a sudden, making oat milk looks like a really good business to be in. And that juicy profit is a signal. It's like a giant flashing green light for the whole economy. The companies already making oat milk start producing way more. And you'll even see new people jump into the game, maybe converting their old factories to get a piece of the action. The total supply starts to go up to meet all that new demand. And what happens next? Well, as more and more oat milk floods onto the shelves, that initial shortage starts to disappear. Supply catches up to demand, and the price will either level off or maybe even start to come down a bit, and profits return to normal. The system balances itself. And get this, it works just as perfectly in reverse. If people stop wanting something, let's say nobody's buying CDs anymore, the price drops, profits vanish, and producers get a very clear signal. Hey, stop putting resources here. And that frees up the labor and capital to go make something people actually want now. This whole thing, this back and forth, it works like a totally automatic, self-regulating machine. The source material actually had a brilliant analogy for this. It's like the governor on an old steam engine. So, on a steam engine, if it starts going too fast, a little device called a governor automatically closes a valve to slow it down. If it's too slow, it opens it up. It keeps the speed just right. Well, prices and profits do the exact same thing for the economy. They're the regulator, constantly opening and closing the flow of labor and capital to keep production levels perfectly matched to what we all want. Okay, but this brings us full circle, back to that original critique. If the system tells a business to lay people off or even shut down, isn't that a bad thing? Isn't that the system creating scarcity? Well, let's dig into why something shrinking is actually a vital part of progress.
So the charge, again, is that this is all just scarcity economics, that it's all about profit and not about using our incredible ability to produce things to the max. But just play that out for a second. Imagine we decided, okay, we're going to run every shoe factory in the country at 100% capacity, 24/7. We'd have mountains of shoes, but where would all the workers, the leather, the rubber, the electricity for those factories come from? Well, it would have to be pulled away from making everything else. Our clothes, our homes, our food, even the factories that make other things. And that gets to the real meaning of what a cost is. The true cost of producing anything isn't just the money. It's the other things you could have made with those same resources. It's the opportunity you sacrificed. The cost of a mountain of shoes is a society with fewer homes and less food. And this all leads to a really profound and maybe even tough conclusion from the source. For an economy to be healthy, for it to grow and adapt, it's just as important for dying industries to be allowed to die as it is for new ones to be allowed to grow. You see, when an old industry that people don't really want anymore shrinks, it's not just a failure, it's a release. It frees up all those workers, all that machinery, all that capital, so it can move into the new, exciting industries that are actually making the things we need and want today. That isn't scarcity. That is literally the engine of progress. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. When we hear calls to protect or bail out a failing industry, what's the hidden cost? What new, innovative things are we preventing from being created by trapping resources in the past? What progress are we giving up?